I was trying to cut down the size of my presentation because these things eat up core like crazy. And it should be number 2021. And I had it on the first one, and when I converted it over to the new one, for some reason I got 21 in there twice. So anyway, we'll see what other mistakes I have in here.
Getting old, Mike.
Down. Yeah, if I get too close to this, holler at me because I'm not used to this thing. All right, Kent, let's see what happens. All right, here we go. On June 23rd, 1906, the first train with engine number 12 and coach arrived at the New Minden Depot. The trip from Carson City took 45 minutes. It took 43 minutes to go back to Carson. Must have been downhill. Anyway, here you see the Minden Depot. You see Boxcar 1013, which was the temporary depot until they got the new one built. And 1013, shortly after this, got back on the line. And then you see in the background the Genoa coming into town with a couple of boxcars, and one of the express cars probably looks like number 14, and then one of the real coaches behind it. So they were using the coaches, or the old real coaches for this line, and they were using one of the express cars, probably off the winter train at this point. So they needed another car to run from Carson City down to Minden. So they decided to build a little baggage mail express car. And here we see that this thing was built in the shops, 1906. It cost $2,183.38, I think it is. Paid for in July 6, 1906. And here on the bottom side we have, from the Dayton Manufacturing Company, 6 side lamps. So they originally had 6 side lamps in the car, no vents for the lamps, okay? And one little stove in the corner and a hopper, a dry hopper for the attendant. The car was set up as a baggage, mail express, or mail, U.S. Postal Office, but it was stack mail, not an RPO operator, not a mail clerk, and then an express agent. So it had one person in the car, but it had 6 side lamps. I guess he wanted to see what he was doing. And it was added to the July 14th, 1902 roster. So here we are, 1906, it was built, but they took and added it to the 6 roster. And you can see if I can get the pointer to work here. Down there in the bottom, here's number 18, which came in 1891. Number 19, which came in I think 1904, yeah, June of 1904. And then written below that, September 1906, number 20, for $2,183.83. Minden Express, B&T shops for Minden line, or Mail and Express, I'm sorry, Mail and Express, B&T shops for Minden line. So it was built basically for the Minden line, and it ran basically from Carson City to Minden and return. And here we see, this is a kind of dark picture. Stephen, you know what date that was? Let's see, does it say? No, it doesn't say, okay. But here's a typical train that coming into Minden with the number 12, boxcar, express car 20, and one of the grill coaches. Here's another picture. Grill coach brig coming up on the rear, the little express car next to it, a couple of box cars, a flat car, and the Genoa, number 12. A better picture with the Genoa and the 20. Note here that we have, see if I can get this thing to work. Okay, Ken. There we are. Note the little side door, blind end, no door on the end, platform, and the center door. So the clerk, this was a swinging door, it wasn't a sliding door, but a swinging door. And it rode on arch bar trucks, all right? And the braking system was a Westinghouse freight air brake system on the car at the time. So you have this swing motion arch bar trucks, and light lettering, or dark lettering here, light color, and a white or gold probably lettering up here. So probably at this time it was painted a yellow color with maybe a green trim or a brown trim. Because when the 19 was, when they ordered the 18 from Barney and Smith, they asked for yellow with olive green trim. When they ordered the 19, or had the 19, Coach 19, it was yellow with brown trim. So this could have been either the olive green or brown. We don't know for sure. A little bit better detailed shot of it. You can see the lettering here showing up, Wells Fargo and Company Express, United States Post Office Service up here, and the light lettering up here on the Virginia and Truckee, and the Brill codes behind it.
What year was that again, Mike?
This would have been around 1906, 1907. Yeah, because the 8 went out, the Genoa went out in 1908, right? It was set aside in 1908, so it had to be between 1906 and 1908. Another picture. SP boxcar there. A little bit better detail here on the Brill coach in the 2021. Still has a side door in it, the little side door. You can note here, there's your door handle. One of the kids here has a beautiful coach over there of the 18, and he even put the door handle on it, on the side door. So if you're going to model this, better add that.
Was there a door in each car?
The door was on this end here, on this side, and on the other side over here, on the other side. Blind in, no door in the center, okay? Here's your smokestack for your stove. Notice there's no vents for the side lamps. We never found any. Steve and I went through the car here last month, could not find any holes for lamp vents, okay? So apparently they just had a shield over them, and they smoked up the room.
Were both ends blind?
Both ends were blind, yeah. And there was a bell cord on one end only, all right? Yeah, interesting. A better picture yet. Now you can see the white or the gold lettering on the Virginia and Truckee. Probably red lettering, because red does not show up on black and white photographs too much for the Wells Fargo and Company and U.S. Mail. All right, 1907, they bought this coach from Hicks Locomotive Car Works, and it came in as number 20. So now we had two number 20s. We had the little baggage car number 20, and then we had the Hicks Combine, or as they called it, caboose, number 20. So by April of 1909, the number 20 became number 21. There's a letter that Dale Darney found in the UNR collection over in Reno, asking for a pair of caboose trucks from the SP. And this is in March of 1911. And finally on the bottom it says, okay, they're getting the trucks. Now we're not sure if they got caboose trucks or coach trucks. Stephen said that there's the number that Shortline found indicates to me it was probably a coach car and maybe not a caboose car. But anyway, this is a pair of trucks similar to what would have been that the SP was changing out on their cabooses and putting in a regular caboose type truck, more of an arch bar truck than this type of passenger car truck. This picture here is probably one of the better pictures of the car. Sorry that Fred Jukes did not get the other end of the car. It would have been nice to see the whole car. But this is Carson City. And you can see the express car number 1 there and baggage car number 2 on the right over here. And here's the Brill coach, and here they are loading up the baggage car probably from this car over to this car to run down to Minden. So this is where it sat in Carson City. They're getting ready to go down to Minden. Or it could have been coming in. We don't know for sure. But this is one of the better pictures of the car. And you can see here the lettering on the Virginia and Truckee, light color here, probably the red lettering here, United States Mail, U.S. Post Office. Over here you can still see it has Wells Fargo and Company on it. You can see the trim over here being a darker color, okay, corner post. It does not look like it does not have the flag markers on it yet. So this would have been, I think, before 1914. And here you can see the truck. Now it has the caboose truck or passenger car truck on it instead of the arch bar truck. And this is the truck that's on it now. All right, 1910, this monster arrived and became the Minden train. And so they weren't using, unless they used steam, this is what basically took over the run from Carson City to Minden. And I don't know what happened to this car. Never have seen it since.
You're not looking.
Oh. Okay, McKean Motor Car number 22 takes over the Minden Reno service on June 10th, 1911. Was it Reno? Yeah, I guess it did take over the Reno run, didn't it? Yeah, Reno all the way to Minden, okay. Yeah. Okay, in 1921, they started operating McKean car with a trailer. And it happened to be the little baggage car. This is the only picture we've found of this car behind the McKean car. And you can see here it is, just the end of it in this photograph here. Notice here, there's an air hose hanging down here for some reason. And there's another air hose over here hooked up to the car. A kind of weird setup. Well, what it is, you had two air hoses, one for straight air, because the McKean car ran off of straight air, and the regular trains ran off of automatic air. So here you have the one air hose for the automatic air, and here you have the other air hoses hooked up to the McKean car with the straight air. And if you look under the car, you will find here's the automatic air tank, or air brake, and here's the other air brake for the straight air. And when I first measured this car, I noticed this, but I didn't pay any attention to it, okay? Now we have a chain hanging down here, and we'll talk about that later. Chris, I think Chris is here, isn't he? DeWitt? Where's Chris? He was here. He's over there.
That's...
No, hang on, Chris. He'll answer this question in a little while. Chris was the one, it was interesting because I was talking to Chris one day over when they were working on the McKean car. And I said, well, the McKean car had straight air, didn't it? He says, yeah. And I said, well, how did it hook up to the lower baggage car? He says, well, look underneath it, Mike. Yeah. I looked underneath it and I found the other air hose. And what it is a tender brake. It came off of a tender. So, interesting. Yeah, I appreciate that, Chris. But we have a question for you in a while. All right. The only other pictures I found of the McKean car pulling the baggage car. This is Cal Tippins. Tipton, I think it is. Yeah. Tinkham, yeah, you're right. He lives up in the Sparks up in Boomtown area. And this was down at Rancho Cordova, down at one of the live steam meets down there. So he's pulling down his McKean car with the little baggage car behind it. Okay, effective September 22nd, 1929, the V&T Daily through passenger train changed to Reno-Minden, becoming trains 1 and 2. So it put the little baggage car out of business, all right? We did find a couple instances where the baggage car was used on trains 1 and 2 going down to Reno, but basically it was no longer needed for the Minden run unless they were running steam or something else, or this train was tied up. In 1932, yeah, okay, the McKean car was converted to its mail express baggage area, operated 3 days per week as trains 1 and 2 Reno to Minden. So we don't need the baggage car anymore, but it became the Virginia City run, Carson to Virginia City, along with either 15, Combine 15 or Combine 16. And we can see it here back on one of the 15 or 6, probably 15. Was it 15 or 16?
Right,
15. 15. And then the little baggage car and the tank car behind it. And here it's sitting at the Carson Passenger Depot. Note here now the color's been changed because you see white lettering or yellow lettering here, but still a white lettering or gold lettering up here. Another picture. And here it is in the 30s, I think, yeah, Ted Worm, July 3rd. There's no pictures of the car between after the Fred Jukes picture, basically up to this time here, other than that one with behind the McKean car. So note the white lettering or the yellow lettering on the side, and the lettering up on top with a darker green probably.
Doors on the end now.
Oh yeah, they took the doors off the end, didn't they? Yeah, there's no door on the side, and the end door has been put in. That happened in 1914. So there's another change. Here you can see a better picture of U.S. Mail over here. Doesn't have Railroad Post Office anymore. 21, Railway Express Agency. That changed from Wells Fargo and Company to Railway Express Agency.
It's not a yellow car anymore, though, is it?
Not a yellow car, you're right.
When did that change?
Probably when the McKean car was running. About the end of the Virginia City run. 1938, leaving Virginia City Freight Depot. And this is probably one of the last pictures of the train behind the 25. Sold to Paramount, along with number 10, 14. This is down in Sparks. Stephen had this photograph. And here you can see they've added a window now here. So this is a movie prop, not a V&T. So if you're going to model the car, don't put the window in it. And we'll go through these real fast. I think I have them in the write-up there. The various different movies that it played in. Of course, this is the one it played in Union Pacific, the Cecil D. DeMille's. Another one, Sacramento Western Railroad. Movie train, and this is Al Phelps in 1948. Took this picture sitting in the yard down in L.A. And 1948. Note the platform end beams, because we're going to talk about that in a minute. Right here. Here's your end door. No window. Okay. Solid wood up there. No window. No glass, I mean. Right here, and this is a photograph I took when I was down there in 1965. They've changed the platform end out at that point. Got a bigger beam on there. There's another picture of it later, or this is 62, yeah, so they changed it between before 60, yeah, before 65. But this, you can notice how big the beam is here. So they changed that, and then Stephen mentioned that they changed out the coupler too. They put a bigger coupler on here. And it was in the Wild Wild West TV series, along with number 8, which I think is 22 really, and then one of the Kimball coaches behind it. And they're sitting in 69 East LA yards. And here it is at Alta Loma, and Shortline Enterprises bought the car. And he took it up to Altaloma, painted it back into the green and yellow colors. And this is when I saw it in '76 in Altaloma, when it was owned by Shorty Enterprises. This is where I first measured the car. Here's Bill Odom and Ron Steiner down in Jamestown when they moved the car there for some movie work and stuff. Chicago, Rock Island, and Pacific Railroad, one of the movies they did at Jamestown. Here's some other pictures I took at Jamestown. Here's your air brake. This is an old freight brake off the car. Here's your step that's kind of got a little bit bent. Here's the airline, whoops, with this trusty little tie up there. And here's your air brake over here. All right, Chris, you awake?
Yeah.
All right, here we have a chain hanging down, and it's tied into the fulcrum over here. Here's your straight air, here's your automatic air. And here's that same chain. Now, our thinking is that they probably took the rod off from the air brake and moved it over from the automatic air brake over to the straight air brake. But what was the chain for, Chris? Would they have used that instead of the rod?
You know, Mike, that's a great question. I really haven't ever thought about it.
Me neither.
I can't answer that, but I'll think about it. Next year I'll tell you.
Okay, good. Thank you. I knew he would have the answer. Yeah, it's kind of interesting because we were looking at the photographs and well, what'd they have the chain for? You know, our thinking was all the time that they just took the rod off, pulled a pin, shoved it over, and put it under the other air brake. You know, when they needed it. So, and maybe the chain was there later. We don't know. Interesting question. Here's your two air brakes. This one here is your independent. It says for tender use, and here's your automatic right here. And notice there's no rod coming out of this at this time. This is fairly early or fairly late photographs, and this is the independent brake right here. Here's your brakes on the end of the car. And some interior shots that we took. Some of these I took earlier, and then some Stephen took when we were up measuring the car the other day. Again, here's your brake, emergency brake handle here. Vent. So you had a screen over the outside of the platform there, so they could open this up and get air into the car. I don't think the windows, the clerestory windows there were opened up. Here's where the end door was, the side door, I should say. Here's your rack for your express passenger rack. And here's one of your clerestory windows. This piece was put in for movie work here. That's an added piece. But you can see the window here. And I don't know, I don't think it opened up. I don't see any hinges on there, but someone will find out one of these days. This is the where the side doors slid in, so you had these, so it wouldn't, if you're stacking boxes and stuff, it wouldn't hit the door. And this is where the opening for the truck, if you need to get to the truck pin, was. So, this is a kit bash model that I built from the Ohio Electric kit, LaBelle. Trucks came from Mantua car, and the steps came from Westfield. Roof detail, I took this photograph for Eric Bracker when he was making his models, the kit models of the car, and he ended up getting a cast piece made for it instead of doing the wood like that. So what color was the car painted? You know, we talked about the darks, the light colors, you know, the dark colors here, probably light colors here, very light colors right here. Well, Stephen luckily has the paint records for the car. So you can see here, number 20, and you can see it's crossed out, number 21 had it. And it starts out, you know, when it was first painted and put on the line on September 8, 1906. Painted in 1909, you know, new end doors put in, painted one coat on the road, May of 1911. Side door taken out. Now this is 1911 when they put in the end doors, painted. This is when they put in the new trucks, okay, 1911. Side door taken out, painted in 1914. So between 1911 and 1914, it had an end door, side door, and a center door. So it had 6 doors instead of 4 doors. All right. Painted, you know, 1917, 1918, varnished, washed, on the road, 1919, varnished, repainted, 1921. Page 7 over here, this is C and C up here, and then they cross all that out in baggage car number 21 from page 55. Varnished, 1923, painted, 1925, revarnished, 1926, painted, 1927, repainted, June 1930, lacquered, March 1932, on road, 1932. And I think that was the end of it. You don't have any other after that? Yeah. We hired this old bald-headed guy here to go out and do some paint research on the car. I don't know, I think we only paid him $1 an hour, so he didn't do a very good job. And you can see we took one of the nuts off the washers off the truss rod nut here. This is the washer, that's the nut. That's the nut there that's doing the work. And this is what we were getting to. The first time I did this, I got some paint colors and I sent those off to Steve, and he sent me about 8 pictures. And all the colors matched the colors that the movie studio had done. So it was back to the museum to do more research. And Randy will probably tell you about that later, right? All right, so this is what we came up with. Here you see the nut, the washer, all the way down, hopefully to bare metal. And then going through, we came up with these various paint schemes here, all right? So this is what we think it maybe it looked like as built. This is almost a SP daylight orange color. Maybe the red lettering, but with the green, olive green type letterboard, probably gold or yellow gold Virginia Truckee, and maybe the red United States Mail, River, Post Office, Wells Fargo and Company Express. Okay, cited the arch bar swing motion trucks and the little end door, the side door.
Were the trucks and platforms green also?
Most likely, because that's the way the V&T seemed to paint everything. Yeah. So that's the way I did it. And Randy will correct me later today. All right, I took one of Eric's kits, one of his Real Grand Models kits, and started working on it and started painting it. And you got to paint these things first. You got to shellac them, and then you got to paint them. And I was using the SP Daylight Orange, and then I thought, well, I didn't like the color too much, so I tried to copy, tried to print out my color drawing, and this is what I came up with. This is as far as I've gotten so far on this kit. So this is the way maybe it looked later on behind the McKean. It's kind of a wine color. This is Wisconsin Central Maroon, okay? And if you all stand up and turn around and look at your chair, it's the same color. I was looking at that yesterday, and by golly, that color of the chair is the same color as this car. So here's my rendition. This is that little baggage car that I just finished painting the other day. I still got to do some work on it. And it's over sitting in the display over there behind our baggage, our little number 8, number 7, number 8 that we have on display there. And I have these behind me on the board here. Now, if you're lazy, like a lot of us are, you can go out and buy the old model die casting or a roundhouse, which is now Athearn baggage car. And surprisingly, this car is pretty doggone close to the model. And here you can see the two of them sitting together. And I want to thank Stephen for all of his help on this, and Window for letting me designate his car in there. And a lot of the photos came from Stephen, of course, Bob Dockery's photos, CSRM, and my collection, and also the Nevada State Railroad Museum. And I thank you very much. Questions? No questions, good. Okay, I have handouts up here, you can come get them later on.
Thank you, Mike. Thank you, Mike, thank you very much. Before we take our break, I just want to mention one thing. On the back of your name tags, you've got that ticket I mentioned earlier yesterday. It's a railroad ticket, it's a replica railroad ticket for the V&T from Carson, Virginia. If you'll take that out whenever you can sometime today, see Carla, we're going to hand the plans out today, rather than you walk around with these tomorrow in your hand and not be able to take pictures. It looks like this. When you open it up, you get a copy of Frank Slater's 1973 plan of the 1870 depot in Virginia.